Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our new week of installment of 20 Minutes for Israel from Israel. I want to start again with an apology for the technical difficulties we had last week for the last one, but I know many of you watched it as we already have almost 300 views of that interview since Thursday. Just as a reminder, this week we have four exciting guests, all sharing with us their perspective and the mood and what's going on in Israel and their wonderful work. Before I introduce today's speaker, tomorrow we have two entrepreneurs who have in the first few days alone served over 5,000 meals to soldiers and people displaced from the South. On Wednesday, we have the privilege from hearing from Eliana Daron, who is currently serving in the IDF from our community. And Thursday, God willing, we'll have the opportunity to hear from another active member of the IDF from our community. This afternoon, we're joined from Israel with Chani Rosenberg. Chani is part of the Vermont Beit Shemesh community and part of the broader Haredi community, the more ultra-Orthodox community. And I think one of the reasons why I was excited and honored to have her join us for this important conversation is we sort of live in our bubble, and we've heard so much in the past before October 7th of the divisions within Israeli society. And one of the beautiful things that you see a little bit on the news is just how much all different aspects of Israeli society have come together. And so we're really honored, Chani, for you to share your perspective. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and the community you're a part of?
Sure. Okay, I'm Chani Rosenberg. I'm originally from Monsey, New York. In 2006, we made Aliyah. We is me, my husband, and three children at the time. And we came to Ramat Beit Shemesh. And we've been here ever since, which is like 17 years. I've had three more children here. So now we are living here with six children. We're part of a pretty Haredi community. I would say it's 50% Anglo, 50% Israeli. My children are bilingual. They're fluent in both language, in both reading and writing and speaking. So they're really fully integrated to Israeli society. At the same time, when we go back to America, other than asking where they have their funny accent from or something, because it's just a little different with the Hebrew, they're pretty identify as both American and Israelis. Is that a good summary?
That's excellent. And just so you know, while this is the Zoom for the Young Israel West Hartford, you have members on here from the broad strokes of the Jewish community in Greater Hartford, from the Orthodox, Conservative, Reform, across the spectrum, and leaders of a number of different vital institutions, including our Jewish Federation, which has now notched, I believe, $6 million in a relief aid that they've raised for Israel, which is unbelievable.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's interesting I'll just say one thing, like when we're in Israel, so we're part of a really I would call like ultra Orthodox community, and girls and boys are separate and everything is like that. However, we do business in America as well. My husband does real estate, and most of his stuff is centered in Kansas City, where Brander was a rabbi there before our times there. So we go there with the family when we could, and we have place there, and it's nice for my kids to get, they just blend in there as well. And we're very much part of the community there as well. So while we live in this community in Israel, in America, we are part of another community, and they respect us. They respect that I wear a wig or cover my hair, and maybe some of them don't, or that my husband wears the black hat, he wears it to the shoulder, and everybody loves us, and we're really part of the community there as well. So we part of a few different communities.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about what the last 3 weeks have been like for you and your family.
Yeah, so Simchas Torah morning, like everyone else, we were in shul, and I was sleeping still. It was early, and my husband came and woke me up and said that a soldier came to this shul and let everyone know, since it's a pretty Orthodox shul, we don't have many soldiers there. So a neighbor came who is a soldier and said, I just want to let you know what's going on. He said there's been an infiltration and there's been rockets and there are going to be sirens and a plan has to be put in place. And the shul, my husband is the only member of the shul who carries a gun. The rabbi sent him home and asked him to get more bullets. He only was carrying one magazine. He went home and got all 50 bullets. That's the maximum you're allowed to carry. A person's allowed to own in Israel. You can't have more than 50 bullets as a citizen. They've changed it to 100 now. So he came home and he woke up and what are you doing opening the electric safe? It's Shabbos, you know? He's like, no, the rabbi, and he started telling me what was going on. And it was very hard for me to comprehend. But he said to me, I'm just waking you up because there's a chance there'll be a siren and I want you to be up because we have two children who are on the third floor, which is an attic. And he said, if there are sirens, I want immediately to get them out of the attic. So of course, 10 minutes later, there was a siren and I got everybody downstairs quickly into our safe room. We have safe rooms in the house. And the rest of the day basically continued like that. The whole day sirens. And we were hearing stories. A very good friend of ours is a soldier. He came to our house. He said, I've been called up. You can't go without saying goodbye to you. He says, I need a shot of whiskey. We gave him a little whiskey. And he told us, I think there's been like 30 hostages and maybe 100 people killed. And we said, no way. You divide that in a quarter, you know, that can't be. And obviously, we know it was much worse. And that's how the day went. And then came after Shabbos, and we all ran to our computers, and we realized what was happening. And no one knew what to do. And we went to sleep. I put the kids to sleep in the safe room. We wouldn't have to keep waking them up. And in the morning, I have an older son who's 23 and a half years old. He's a real doer. So in the morning, I had a knock on my door and someone has a box full with food and whatever. And I said, what is this for? He said, the soldiers. I said, you know, you're at the wrong place. He said, you know, are you Aaron's mom? Yeah. Well, Aaron said to leave this year. And I would say over the next hour, there was enough food to literally feed an army. And toiletries, you name it. And then people were bringing envelopes with money. And I just finally reached my son. Can you tell me what's going on here? The dining room is covered. I mean, I have pictures. You wouldn't even believe it. Like, I have a pretty big dining room covered floor to ceiling with donations. And he says to me, Mom, they called up like 300 reserves. There's no way the army's ready for this. I'm an ambulance driver. I got permission to take my ambulance and load up food and just bring it down to the troops. And he mobilized on his own. I couldn't believe what was going on. And he just started, he said, Mom, could you bake? Okay, I start baking. And he says, yeah, wrap it up, you know, write a hechsher, because there are some from soldiers down there and they might care. So just write what it is, you know, if it's mahadrin or kosher, whatever it is, dairy, meat. And he got this own little army going here. Then the youth group, the Ezra youth group came by my house and they started helping me bag it because we started making individual bags for each soldier because, you know, hand them a bag that had in it, let's say a bag of chips, some toiletries and whatever we could do that was like an individual bag. And he went down and they were so grateful. In the first hour it was gone. He came back home and he did about 3 or 4 trips a day in the beginning of these kind of items. And then people started giving him donations and he started asking the soldiers what they need. And they needed ceramic vests, you know, the bulletproof vests. They needed helmets. They needed flashlights. The army is just not equipped for this amount of active soldiers. And he brought them in. It's amazing the chesed that we saw. This family in South Africa was able to secure 50 vests, loaded it up into 15 suitcases, went to the airport, and people. My son showed up at the airport with the ambulance, and each person came out and chucked the suitcase in the back of his ambulance. Came home, sat down in our garden, got 5 guys, put these bulletproof vests together. They were gone in 10 minutes. Everybody, and this is how the days have gone. Now that the army has caught up with itself and they're providing more regular meals and more regular things. So his mission has changed a little, but he goes down twice a day, no matter what. He's in touch with the commanders, and he goes down and brings what they need. They ask for fresh sandwiches, they get fresh sandwiches. Tonight, they ask for barbecue, he's making a barbecue. Whatever they need, he goes down, and it's a family mission. Obviously, we're all part of it. And, you know, that was his way of giving back. He didn't serve in the army, he wasn't like, they didn't want him. He has his ADHD, and he wasn't a great candidate. This is his way of giving back. And what we're seeing here in the community is everybody is finding their way of giving back. And it is so beautiful to see. So this war, while is beyond tragic, it's amazing for us as a community to see how everybody has stepped in.
So it's remarkable. And you know, I think sometimes we hear about the sort of fragmentation in the different communities. What you're seeing across the Haredi community is you know, engagement and whatever they can do to support.
I think a large percentage. I would not say that, wow, this has really brought everyone together and everyone's connected. There's always going to be those who don't see it that way, but as a whole, you're definitely feeling it more than I felt it in the 17 years that I live here. I can't say it's across the board. There's still certain sects who just can't see past it. And it's hard for me to understand because I say, how could you live in Israel without the idea? You know, it's very nice to have Emunah and believe in Hashem, but Hashem sent us a tool. And he sent us the idea that we as Jews have our own army, which has never happened in history. I mean, it has, you know, the time when we had the Romans, I'm saying in recent history. But this is a tool from God, and I believe that he wants us to support his tool, you know? So it's sad when people don't see it, but as a whole, there's been a very big shift in society where it used to be very black and white. Like, you know, you're Haredi, you're Datilumi, you're Chiloni, you're like everyone fit into a box. I think that box is sort of blurring now here, and a lot of people are more bachdut, and everybody knows someone who's a soldier here. There's no one who doesn't know, unless you live under a rock. You have to personally know a soldier, whether it is your son, your uncle, your brother, your cousin, your friend, your neighbor. There's just no one who doesn't know. Like, I just came back from a very, very close friend of mine's house. Her son-in-law was called up. He's a father of 3 kids. He's extremely learned guy. He's amazing. And he got called up, and he's in Gaza. His wife hasn't heard from him in 3 days. He went in with his tank and he doesn't know where he is. So we bought presents for the little kids and we gave them gifts, and they were so excited. And we just said, this is because your daddy is doing so much for us because he's the one there. And she said it helps them. She told me that her kids told her, Ima, do we get so many nice things because Abba's a chayal? And she said, yeah. He said, I have such a hard time because I'm not so sure if I want Abba to come home so quick. So he's little, he's 3. But, you know, it's nice how the whole community is supporting these families.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. What's the strangest request you guys have gotten from some of the soldiers, or the thing that sticks out?
I'm trying to think. I mean, listen, the fun requests are the ones where, like, let's say my son was down there and, you know, he's like, a soldier will say, my wife really misses me. And the commander will be like, okay, if you take him home in the ambulance, so like it's a secured vehicle, and bring him back in 2 hours, he can go home and say hi to his wife. And like, those are the best. And he'll send us videos. Like, he called one house and it was late at night. The daughter answered. He said, I have a special delivery for you. Could you come out? And she came out and he's like, it's in the back. Can you open the back door? And her father was there. So those are like, or yesterday, he picked up a soldier on his way up, and he said, you know, from the south, and he said to him, where are you going? He said, I'm going home. They let me out. I have a couple of hours. I'm waiting for my ride. He says, I'll drive you up there. And then he said, it's our anniversary. And my son stopped at like a store and picked up balloons and roses and sent him on his way. It's just like, there's so many things like that where it's just, but, you know, like everybody just wants these families to be together and these soldiers to be happy. You go to the mall, let's say, and you'll just see a soldier ordering and someone else is paying because they're all in uniform. It's amazing to see. We had a soldier at a ride home, and he asked if he could stop in our house and shower first because, like, I'm so smelly. I've been in a tank for a week. I just don't want to go home this smelly. But sure, you could shower. Everyone's house is everyone's house now. Everyone's like, it's one man for another.
It's beautiful. And part of why we're running these is because we feel so distant from what's happening, and obviously our hearts and our tefillot and all of our thoughts are with the people in Israel and with IDF and the state of Israel. And so part of this is our opportunity to sort of connect on the ground. And we really appreciate you giving us time. What do you think, as a group of American Jews, what else do we need to know here?
We really feel that the American Jews have been there for us. First of all, the amount of money, financial support that they've been giving is amazing. There's no lack, unfortunately, of places to give. The tefillot that we see are being organized. I think everybody feels very, very supported by the American community. I think today with social media, nobody lives under a rock anymore. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's part of this. And I don't think that we feel that we're fighting a war alone. I think if you ask anyone, they feel that the American from community is behind us. And I think the anti-Semitism that you guys face there, we know what goes on. And we see these pro-Palestinian riots. We see all these things. So we know that while you're not living a war at the moment, you're living your own war. I don't think today there's such a divide where like, maybe, the Persian Gulf War, like when I was younger, I remember that war. We sat in school, we said a parak, and then we went on with our day. We didn't get these live images. I think today we're getting these live images. You guys see rockets flying over. I mean, today I was sitting with my son and I want to go into the safe room. We heard booms like you've never heard. I said, there's no siren. We're not going. And then they posted 10 minutes later that the Iron Dome intercepted it right over Beit Shemesh. So you guys see those videos. You guys hear those things. I don't think there's such a distance today with the world being so connected between the Israeli Jews and the American Jews. I think it's one for all for one.
100%. 100%. Thank you so much for taking some time to speak with
Pleasure.
us. We appreciate it. Stay safe. Tell your son that his work is so special, and we as American Jews, and I'm sure the soldiers who are receiving it, so appreciate it. And we look forward to connecting with you on happier occasions.
Okay, wonderful.
Take care. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You well. Bye-bye.